Good evening and welcome to Face for the Newsfirst team. I'm Niresh Eliyatambi. In just a few weeks' time, we will mark the first anniversary of President Anurukumara Dissanayake being sworn into office. So it's time to take a look back and a look forward as well. And to do that, I have with me this evening Mr. Barath Arullsamy, who is the Vice President of the Democratic People's Front, DPF, which is of course part of the larger Tamil Progressive Alliance, TPA. Good evening and welcome, Barath. Good to have you again.
Good evening, Mr. Niresh, and thank you for having me here today.
Right. So Barath, from the point of view of the minorities in this country, who are an integral part of the population, and the NPP has to its credit emphasized the point that we are all Sri Lankans, but from the point of view of the minorities, how are things going in the sense in integrating the entire population together and dealing with the issues of the past, because you cannot simply forget the past. You have to deal with those issues and then going forward as well. What's your view on this?
Mr. Niresh, first and foremost, we have to extend our heartfelt congratulations to His Excellency the President for achieving the first year anniversary, and as a individual and as a party we have to congratulate him, and we look forward whatever he had promised during his campaign should be delivered. When we touch about the promises they have made, one of the important element you would have observed, the trust of minorities, that is not only the Tamils but also the Muslim community had a utmost faith in the government, but the delivery of that faith is a question. So from northern Tamils, eastern Tamils, and Muslims and Malaya Tamils, the promises are made it in a massive way, but the delivery or progress is still in the process. I don't see a kind of even an initiative has been taken yet to at least talk about that. So for an example, when we talk about North, the North wanted a kind of a recognition for the atrocities happened during the war, and also they wanted a clear-cut administrative system within the Sri Lankan law, and also to at least to release the political prisoners, release the lands which were forcibly occupied by the stakeholders. So these things are still at standstill. Similarly, to eastern part, even there are very much potential in the economic growth of the country, but still there is no much thought about eastern Tamils as well. When it comes to central upcountry Tamils, Indian origin Tamils, we have been the backbone of this economy any crucial time, let it be pre-independence, post-independence, all the conflict, war time, even COVID, or even the recession time. We have been contributing, but we are also asking, as you correctly mentioned, to integrate us as a full Sri Lankans. Similarly, the Muslim community time to time had a lot of disparities, and they have been mistreated by many by giving false hope. So these entire minorities in the last general election, based on the victory of President Anurukumara Dissanayake, and to his face, by unknowing who is their representatives in the parliament, they voted only on the faith of the President Anurukumara Dissanayake. He is a face of the faith. So now, unfortunately, the faith they have placed on him and the government, whether they have delivered what the minorities are aspiring, is not going to happen, I think, in near future. And also, I would like to recall when President assumed office, his first speech was, abolishing the executive presidency, and also bringing a new political culture and bringing a new constitution. These three things, not even a single thing has been discussed about that yet in this 1 year. Yes, we see President sing like a songbird in Parliament. President was very vocal on few matters in public stages, but when it comes to delivery on their government is a question. So we have to give due credit. Their unnecessary public spending by the state has been decreased, and the corruption is decreased, and also upholding the law has been established. Working through the rule of law, and the check and balance between the judiciary, executive, and legislature is upholding. So the basic.
But those are enormous achievements. Don't
Yes.
you think?
So for those, we have to give commend for that. We have to for even our party leader Mano Ganeshan had supported without any conditions to uphold those basic achievements. But unfortunately, Mr. Naresh, only those things will not put food in our plate, because there is a large middle class community who are having a tremendous problem in their daily livelihood. Taxes are high, inflations are high. Even though the recent reports say the inflation has from minus it has come to neutral and is going to get plus, but still the middle class,
The cost of living.
is still the same. Because in local businesses, when you speak to a random business person in an urban city or a village, their business environment has shrinked. So the business environment shrinked in the sense it is there is no economic growth. Only by achieving stock market, our API is going up, and the low. The system of corporate sector is growing up. It does not mean that there is a steady economic growth in the middle class. We are talking, yes, corporate should develop, and on the other side, the middle class community should be in stable situation, and they should also prosper. So the SMEs and small scale and medium scale businesses are now crippling without any support from anywhere. So to answer your question precisely, Mr. Naresh, still the government is making promises. The president is giving hope, but the achievement and the delivery and the process is really shady or grey. So we as minorities, not because we are opposition, but as the minorities of this country, still believe that president will, forget about our party politics aside. As a president, we have faith on him. I believe the president will uphold the promises which he had given to the people, making the minorities as full-fledged Sri Lankans. If not, he will be another president we had in this entire post independence era.
Now, from your comments, Barath, you appear to be pointing out a contrast here. On the one hand, there has been massive achievements in the area of anti-corruption, which is really great in itself, and also in wastage of public funds. For example, now every minister is not racing around on the road with 10 vehicle convoys.
Exactly.
So that sense of arrogance has disappeared as well. So there is a sense of freedom. We are all citizens. We
Yes.
don't have to jump off the road when the minister's convoy shows up. And also, in the previous regimes, we seem to have 30, 40, 50, 60 ministers. There seem to be ministers for subjects that you couldn't even fathom what they were.
Yes.
But now, the number of ministers is restricted, and they have their deputy ministers, and that's it. And they typically a cabinet minister is going in one vehicle. So all that is good. So vast strides in that direction. And anti-corruption, of course, we see so many top people being arrested. Police chiefs and navy commanders and immigration people and customs people and all, excise, all that. So that's wonderful. But you are having a contrast towards the economic issues, aren't you? And this is something which I think generally now we see people talking more about this, that the economic progress needs to be sped up.
Yes.
To go faster.
Exactly.
But is it now? It's pertinent to ask this question, Barath. After the country had a system which was based on corruption, and the economy ran on corruption. If you were importing anything, you had to bribe X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, you couldn't get your goods in. And if you were exporting, same thing.
Same thing.
You had to bribe X, Y, and Z from the minister down to the wharf clerk.
Yes.
So now, when this system is being changed, it's going to take some time, isn't it?
I totally agree with you, Mr. Naresh.
Because the connection is between the corruption and anti-corruption and the economy. So it's interlinked, isn't it?
Exactly, because to put it in a very subtle example, say if this is an engine, this engine works on a fuel. A fuel was kind of a corruption up until now. This is not because of one person or group of people or individual. This is by the default system. This corruption had been a part of our administration, business, and everything.
It was our Sri Lankan lifestyle.
So like people may comment that what is this? Corruption is part of. How can you tell that? So that is the reality. We have to be not shy away to admit few things. But now this now let's say it is an engine of a vehicle which was running in the fuel of corruption. Suddenly you wanted to change it into an electric vehicle engine. So that will take the entire process a very long time. So yes, then you should systematically do it by cutting out many things. So at the meantime, Mr. Naresh, when you are talking about the engine, you have to talk about the body and the all other equipments and parts, because otherwise we can't only think about the engine and other parts to get corroded. So what I'm saying is, when we are talking about nation building, we have to think two elements. One is social element, social growth among the communities. We have to identify the root cause and we have to address to that. Similarly, we have to talk about the economy. Now, when we bring a free economy, a liberal economy to the country, Mr. Naresh, you are no stranger to the geopolitical things happening around our country. So, how we are competent enough, this country will be competent enough for a opportunity for us to expand businesses. But we don't see any businesses coming into Sri Lanka as a FDI or kind of a mega investments, nothing. Because Mr. Naresh, I'll give you a typical example. When an investor from Middle East is going to come and invest in Sri Lanka, he will see the possibilities. We have a competitor, India. He's also that country is also looking for investment opportunities. So they have a good credit rating. They have a single window investment opportunity, and also a large market, nearly 1.5 billion market. On us, our credit rating is very low, and
just above the garbage level.
And our bureaucracy and red tapes bottlenecks are very high, and also we have less market in our pockets. So an investor who, and also we have lot of restriction on land, employment, so there are a lot of reforms to be done. So an potential investor who will go, who has intention to come and invest will select India over us. So we have to clear these fundamentals.
Yes.
Without this, Mr. Naresh, I don't think we can just clear. Now, corruption is everywhere. Even in India, it's corruption. Even everywhere, it's corruption. But now, I remember in 2023 or early 2024, the Anti-Corruption Act was brought in. So it is in the statute. So implementation is still in a question. They have to put a commission for that, authority for that. We have to appoint a team for that. So how we are going to now? I remember recently when President Vikram Singh got remanded. They're like, there were a lot of school of thoughts on some. They said okay, that some argued against. Then I realized, for these kind of top level examinations or case hearings, we need to establish a special court. Any public officer, despite its president or a peon, they should be tried when they are holding a public office. If they do something wrong, immediately justice should be given. So otherwise, hearing this case and postponing to October, December, the necessity of a justice system is being compromised by many stakeholders. So that is what, Mr. Naresh, yes, there is a anti-corruption thing and all this mechanism are taking place. That alone will not make this country prosper. Yes, that is a big leak we have in our system. So it should be addressed, but it is not alone going to fix everything. As I told you, when the social cohesion and the economic prosperity grows only, we can think about a sustainable future for our country. If not, we will be, in 2015 also there were a lot of, top level arrests were made. Every month there were some investigation arrests, FCID, etc. But unfortunately, in the latter stage, how this entire good governance government got crashed. So I don't want governments can come and go, but I don't want my state to fall. So I believe this president will take necessary initiative to mitigate those.
Right. So you brought up a lot of points, and we will go into those. But first, we need to take a short commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Over. 8 nations, 1 dream. The battle begins. Asia's biggest cricket clash returns. Asia Cup 2025 starts September 9th. Feel the roar. Catch all the action only on TV1.
අපි ඇත්තටම නපුරු පිටසක් වලෙක් මේ ලෝකෙට ගෙන්නමු.
හවස පාමාට්ටම ගෙන්නම හොද.
දැන් ඉක්මනටම නපුරු පිටසක් වල ජීවින්ව හොයන්න ඕනේ.
මේ ඔයා යාට තේරුම් කරන්නකෝ.
හැමදාම හවස පහයිතියට නිකි.
ගන්නවත මට පෙන්නනවා තමුන්ගේ හැඳුනුම්පත.
ඇයි අනේ සෙමි බොයි කිව්වම හැමෝම දන්නේ.
ඔයා හිතන්නේත් මං හිතපු දේවද?
මොනාද නංගි හිතා ඉන්නේ හැමදාම පහයිතියට සිරස ටීවී බලන්න.
Sammy boy.
සතියේ දිනවල හවස 5:30ට සිරස TV ඔස්සේ.
Welcome back to Face to Face. I am with Mr. Barath Arullsamy, Vice President of the Democratic People's Front, DPF. Now, Barath, you brought up a lot of pertinent points, and these are all points which are discussed by the general public wherever you go, whether it is in an office or a tea boutique. They are discussing this.
Exactly.
But there are so many things that need fixing. Now let's take the system of justice that you spoke about. Yes, we have high profile arrests, but the current system of justice had come to a point where cases would take 10, 20, 30 years, and that system is going to take a long time to change, isn't it?
Exactly.
So you know, it's trying to fix things one after the other or together, but it's not easy to do. You can't, you know, high profile cases and normal cases, let's say they take 10 years, you can't suddenly turn that into 2 years.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yes.
It's, you know, you have to have more judges, more courtrooms, more interpreters,
Yes.
stenos, I mean, you know, so many. So it's was it unrealistic for the public to expect so much, and also unrealistic on the part of the NPP to promise so much? Although of course politicians make promises. I mean, every party did, your party did as well.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
but is it realistic for people to say, well, how come the cases are still taking so long? How come cost of living is still so high, and so on? Is it a dose of realism now?
Mr. Nilesh, since you brought about the realistic approach, we have to be very open about the current reality. When, as you correctly mentioned, all political parties, all politicians make promises. You know, when I was running for elections, people may sometimes ask impossible things to be happen, but we will say what we will, as a good faith, we have to whatever things we say we can't do, we have to say no. Whatever things we can try, we can say yes, we will try. But this government, they said impossible as possible, right? Bringing down the electricity in few months, making sustainability, renegotiating with IMF, bringing down cost of living, electricity. So everything, even constitution, abolishing this thing. And for upcountry, they prepared a special Hatton declaration, which has, I think, 7 pointers or something. Nothing has been even talked about yet. So I don't blame them. They have to be, they have to understand they shouldn't deceive the people by giving a false hope or, false propaganda, which has led these people to think, okay, everyone are same, to lose confidence on the system. So it is, they have to play a very important role on establishing, the trust on the system in the sense in the governance, the state. But unfortunately, Mr. Nilesh, yes, few things we can't achieve overnight. We have to have.
But do you feel that things which could be achieved, that where there should be more progress, have not been focused on?
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned the Hatton Declaration,
yes.
Which is a blueprint by the NPP.
Yes.
Which they proclaimed during the election campaign more than a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's a good declaration if you examine it, which I have. It encompasses solutions for many of the desires of the estate community. So the two seem to match. But what you're saying is that there has not been a focus on
Mr. Nilesh, if you examine it very closely again, it has emphasizes the problems. I think education, healthcare, wages, land rights, everything. The problems are highlighted.
Yes. So the problems are identified.
Identified. These problems have been identified by everyone. Even you know that before reading that declaration. But where is the solution? We have to, when we, the TPA, when we supported Ranil Vikram, Sajid Premadasa, we had a MOU signed between the presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa and the TPA, all three leaders, Manohar Ganeshan, Digambaram and Radhakrishnan. On every topic, not only the problem but by the solutions. Now, Mr. Naresh, a lot of people argue that how can you give land to people, and then we will shrink out the plantation lands. We have proposed a mechanism. It has been in record, so there is nothing new to do. But unfortunately, the present setup does not propose any workable solution. So what to answer your previous question, yes, few things can be achieved immediately, few things we have to take time. Right, changing the justice system is a huge Herculean task. We are on an adversary model where the judges decide cases based on the evidence. So even though the judge knows it's a wrongful act, if the evidence cannot be satisfied that, then the suspect is going to walk out free. But whether we are going to change it or not is the question. But unfortunately, the initiative digitalizing our existing payment methods, and digitalization is not a Herculean task. So our region has done proper digitalization. For us, 20 million population data is digitalizing it is not a Herculean task. So those things we can start. And also as I told you, the social growth.
But I think in digitalization there has been some progress.
Progress, but it is very slow. Like comparing to other states, our progress is very slow, because our digital infrastructure should be created to move forward, Mr. Naresh. So we have kind of a narrative, negative narrative for everything. If we talk about foreign investment, they are going to come and take over our land. If we talk about digitalization, they are going to steal our all data. So these kind of a narrative is there. As you correctly mentioned, I remember one you have told in one program also when we are discussing. If we are using our Facebook data, the Meta knows more than us. Now the AI knows everything about us. So likewise, we have to think in a progressive way. So this government, whatever the now constitutional changes, any government has a very fruitful period or productive period or anti-resistance period for 1 year. Whatever the initiative they are going to take, there will be a massive support from the government level, the ground level, and also the opposition will be also a little bit weakened, where the people have given a mandate, so they are executing the mandate. So the resistance from the opposition also will be very much limited. So they missed a golden opportunity to introduce or amend the constitution prospects. They didn't even talk about that. And this entire election system, you would have seen how messy it was in the local government elections. And in provincial elections, if they are not, I saw Bimal Ratnaik in North, he had told the system, provincial council system has failed to deliver what the minorities aspire to. Okay, then if that is the case, bring a new constitution, add everyone as full-fledged Sri Lankans. So make initiative. Just going and talking in north and east, or coming to upcountry and talking very in a attractive way that we are going to do. If there is nothing now, I remember Mahinda Rajapaksa also, after the war, he said there will be no Tamils or no Sinhalese or no Muslims. So there is one Sri Lankans. But till now nothing like that. So the things which we can achieve.
But of course, his brother Gotabaya, when he won, he did publicly say that it was
the
single
majority made him won.
Yes.
So what do we now? If this government and the president, since we are talking about president, if the president is willing, by having the executive presidency, if we want to make change, he can do. Because Mr. Naresh, like we have seen in 1994, President Mrs. Bandaranaike tried to bring a constitutional change. Yes, Chandrika Bandaranaike. She wanted to bring a constitutional change. Same all opposition, they burnt that settlement. So, are we going to continue the same kind of a rhetoric again and again to solve the minority's aspiration, like by just putting here and there, or now when the north is burning on Chemmani issue, by opening up a cricket ground is going to solve the problem? Yes, that is, we have to always distinguish what is fundamental and what is need. So the fundamental is people's aspiration, they should hold accountable, they wanted their land back, they want their rights back. And needs, yes, there should be economic development, ports development, cricket ground. But there are needs, like it's not essential at the moment. So,
do you feel that many of the fundamentals are not being worked on properly?
Not yet, unfortunately.
Right, and now we do know that the government, in large part, has been preoccupied battling, corruption and also dealing with many of the union issues as well, because people wanted system change, but when it came to changing the system, you had the postal workers refusing to put their fingerprint, their thumbprint every morning and evening, and now the government has said nothing doing.
Yes.
The private sector does it, so the state sector also needs to do that.
Yes.
But then you have the threat of strikes. The postal workers did go on strike. Then you have the CEB, which also threatened strikes and so on. You had the bus drivers and
yes.
The private bus community also went on strike. You had the railways, which
yes.
So it's been a lot of obstacles, don't you think? But at the same time, do you see perhaps in year 2, the second year, that things would get better and faster, or do you see it going backwards, or how do you see it?
Actually, the trade union strikes all are their comrades. So their comrades have engaging in. So actually, they were disrupting this progressive initiative which was taken for 3-4 decades. Wherever a progressive initiative was taken, there were a lot of resistance.
Now, the state communities, there were no such strikes.
No, Mr. Naresh, like we never wanted, like our party, the Tamil Progressive Alliance, we have been advocating not for this wage model, the regimental wage model which is existing right now. We wanted some kind of a partner model, a tea partner model, where the worker should transform into a tea stakeholder.
Right. Now,
So
this
that
is also in the Hatton Declaration.
That
isn't
is
it?
there, but in a different
in a
form.
different form, yes.
But unfortunately, now in that declaration, since you brought up there, now there is a clause where the unutilized land of in the tea estates will be identified and distributed among the unemployed youths in the plantation sector. So until now, there has been no initiative, at least to identify. Don't give.
So getting back to my question, do you feel that in year 2 that things would be better?
It ought to be better according to the promises of the government.
Because also the NPP ministers and deputy ministers now have 1 year, well, almost 1 year of experience,
Yes.
which they did not have. Most of them were quite new
That
to
was the
governance.
common excuse which were given by them.
But,
We are new to
a
understand the
realistic
system.
one, of course, but now they are no longer new.
Now they are no longer new. They know the system, how the system works,
Yes.
and as we discussed about the engine, how the engine works, they know how the engine works now.
Yes.
But
I
now,
mean, even in the private sector, when you join a company, and
obviously you have to
it takes 3 or 4 months before
to
you
understand the system
understand
and
the
place
systems.
yourself and get things in your command and move forward. Now here, Mr. Naresh, like even from the initial time, I was harping on the fact that we don't want immediate delivery for anything. Like as we discussed, something can be achieved in near future, something will have a lot of effort to be done, but there should be a roadmap, when a timeline, because we are not in a comfort zone to take everything and do it leisurely, because as I told you, we are in a huge geopolitical competition. So if we lose an opportunity, someone else will grab and go easily. So if we lose an opportunity on investment in apparel sector, easily Bangladesh will capture it and go, or Cambodia or Vietnam. So we have to be very precise and cautious.
Right. So you
Second
mentioned something very pertinent here. We need a plan and a timeline for each initiative.
Yes.
Whether it is in the justice system or in the plantations or the apparel sector, whatever is going to be done needs to be set out, and there has to be a proper schedule.
Because Arpit, that is Mr. Naresh, that is establishing the transparency initiative which was promised by the government. So when there is transparency, honestly, we can ensure the accountability. If there is no transparency, there is a unlikelihood of accountability. So here the government should give a proper working plan. Okay, 1 year passed, we have done this much of achievement. This is our second year plan. Now you remember in SJB Alliance blueprint. In that blueprint, if you go a little bit deeply, so they in 1 year how much they can achieve. To whether we are achieving it or not, it is secondary. That depends on your efficiency.
But there is a target.
There is a target. In the private sector, there is a target, the target will be met, otherwise you will be questioned or you will be replaced. So likewise, now since there is a competitive world among us, among the region, so region is in tension, so we have to be equipped to connect the east and west. Otherwise, Mr. Naresh, I strongly believe that we will miss a golden opportunity.
But isn't Sri Lanka's history a history of missed opportunities? I mean, Barath, when we got our independence, we were second to none in Asia.
Yes.
Our economy, our standard of living, we were the best.
Yes.
But then we kept going down the wrong road.
Exactly.
Government after government, not every single government, but many governments just went down the wrong road. Nationalization of the plantations is one.
Yes.
And so on, and then the communal politics and so on. So it's a history of missed opportunities, isn't it?
Yes.
So your fear, I think, is that we will miss this opportunity as well.
Exactly. Mr. Naresh, since you mentioned our stance long back, when this entire Aragale thing was happening, I was in University Delhi doing my program. So I met one of the Nepali friend. So he was telling Sri Lanka was considered Europe of Asia. Like people treat, because we are very standard, we are very selective, our English is very well versed, and our dressing sense and our selection only Japan cars. So they looked up to us like Europe of Asia. But unfortunately, as you correctly mentioned, these missed opportunities made us more vulnerable. Even the people who were looking up to us had to come and help us. So life is a circle, that is a different story, but this is a very different circle. So I don't want, as I told you, governments may come and go, leaders may come and go, but the state never fails. So that mantra should be in the mind of the rulers at the moment. So I don't want this country to face a chaotic or missed opportunity in future, by knowing all the experiences, how a global pandemic comes, how we will be getting affected when there is a war happens in somewhere else, how we are going to get affected. We know everything. So now a layman knows what is Sri Lankan economy, how Sri Lankan economy runs, money printing, lending, everything people know. So thanks to the chaotic opportunity, people came to know about the reality. Now, the government has given a mandate by the people of Sri Lanka, put a system in place, carry forward. Right, the system they are putting in this anti-corruption and public spending is very good, but growing the economy is little bit very, very slow. So they have to mitigate that. That is my only request to President and the government.
Right, and do you feel that all of these achievements by the government in the governance area and anti-corruption and so on, do you feel that is not enough, that the economy should now be the main focus?
Naresh, like after 2024, when President Trump took over the office, the global order of this entire thing,
the whole world
has been changed drastically.
Yes.
Even Bhutan, the happy state in they are also looking for opportunity. So I'm talking about in our region. So now China, always we talk about Sri Lankan taking Chinese side or Indian side. I always emphasize that they are in international relations and diplomacy, there is no emotion, only interests. So today you would have seen the understanding between the China and India as is a evidence that interest play a vital role. So the competition and the cooperative is intertwined. So in this juncture, can we compare ourselves with the our predecessor government or our predecessors, whether they have achieved more than them? It's very different from that time to now. So any miscalculation or missed opportunity will drastically affect our economy. If the 20% tariff is not given to us, or if it is 40 or 30, our economy got into a deep problem. So that is why I always give due credit for Sri Lankan's ambassador in USA, Excellency Mahinda, and also the negotiating staffs. They did a very fantastic job by getting that 20%. We look forward to bring it down to another 5% or something. But in this juncture, if we are not vigilant enough, we will lose a big opportunity, Mr. Naresh. So with this after this Shanghai Cooperation and the Russia America relations and China cooperation with other ASEAN state, we are in a very geographically centered position where we can use that as a bargaining chip to connect east and west. So it is our placement is we are going to bet on. So it is all depend on how we narrate ourselves, our story. Then we can convince, even it is an American market, European market, or our partners with India, China, Russia, or even in the ASEAN region. So this is a very important juncture for Sri Lanka. This next year, the president has been given for 5-year mandate. So 1 year, yes, he had done some achievements, not sound enough, but something better than nothing, but he had done something. A kind of a hope he has given to the people. Yes, we can still trust the trust. If we don't deliver in the second year, because when President Gotabaya was there, first year was very flourishing. You remember when like our youngsters were painting walls, with all these initiatives. But the same youth, ousted him from the office. So we all know what will happen if we don't deliver what we have promised. So here the same thing applies to the present government. As an opposition, we are always open to support the government in nation building. We are not like them to oppose and go protest and you would have seen like we have given a permanent holiday for this what we call that protest control and all these water bowsers, because we don't engage in such protest unnecessarily. If there is a progressive plan coming to our country, we will support fully. But if there is a deteriorating factor, we will definitely oppose, and we will make government accountable to the promises they have made in their mandate, and they have to uphold the mandate they have given to people.
And on that note, I'm afraid we are out of time. My thanks to Barath Arullsamy, Vice President of the DPF, for being with me this evening. Thank you, Barath.
Thank you very much, Mr. Naresh, for having me here.
And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away because the news is coming up next. Have a great evening. Take care.